a war in the change rooms between Matt Revis and Don Best yesterday. The food flying around from lunch and all sorts. It's a great question.
And somehow I just knew you'd mentioned golf there.
It's funny, but it's more people like laughing at him than laughing with him. I got bored off because I was just playing Call of Duty and things like that. So I think I'm the first person to reach 4 teams.
Hey guys, welcome to the Beyond the Game podcast. My name is Jess Crowe and I'm here today with Jordan Thompson. Jordan, how are you doing?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Very good, thanks.
Good. Right, so today we're going to learn all about you and your journey in cricket so far. But I want to know, where did your journey all begin? Was it all cricket for you? Always cricket for you?
Yeah, pretty much. I think I played a lot of football, as people do, in kind of growing up through the winter when it's nice and cold and wet, instead of playing cricket in the summer. So played football kind of up to the age of 13, 14 before moving on to Yorkshire Academy. And then I think I had to pick one, and you know what the kind of football scene's like. It's a tough one to break into. So I think the cricket was the easier option for me. And found myself in the Yorkshire ranks and luckily found myself here today.
Excellent. And who have been some of your biggest inspirations and mentors in the game?
I think obviously parents are number one, really, shipping me around when I was younger all over the country, playing at certain kind of cricket festivals. One that sticks in my mind is Taunton Festival down in Somerset. So obviously being from Leeds, it's a long way down there, nice 6-7 hour drive, and playing kind of 3 or 4 days down there in tournaments and elsewhere as well. It's obviously massive. It's a massive commitment from family, and my parents shipped me around and looked after me, and my dad was always a little bit critical of my cricket at times, but also obviously supported me as well. So yeah, I'd say they're the main ones, obviously, along with coaches and stuff. Growing up and through the academy, there's people that have contributed along the way, but parents are number one. Lovely.
And are there any players that you looked up to as a youngster that you've now actually been able to share the field with?
Yeah, well, the easy ones, I suppose, being from Yorkshire, was obviously Joe Root, playing for England when I was a little bit younger, and a player kind of similar to me along the lines of kind of Ben Stokes. So obviously Stokes broke into the England squad when I was a little bit younger, but only really established himself when I started kind of playing as well. So I played with him in the 100 at the Superchargers for the first year, and obviously to play alongside those guys and learn from them was obviously massive for my career and my development. So it's amazing how quickly things move. You're watching them from the terraces at one point, and then you're playing alongside them in a team in a few years later. So it's everything moves so quickly, and obviously I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, definitely. Is there any moment early on in your career that you can pinpoint that you knew that from that moment onwards you could do cricket professionally?
It's an interesting one, really, because I kind of broke into the professional scene a little bit later than people normally do. I guess in comparison to some lads that I play with, Matthew Fisher, obviously ex-Yorkshire, now at Surrey, kind of made his debut at 15 years old, which, again, probably a little bit unheard of, but people were making the debuts at kind of 18, 19, whereas I was 20, 21, I think I was. So it was kind of biding my time and making sure that I was ready to play the game. And I guess sometimes that's important. I played a lot of second team cricket, and it prepares you kind of for the challenge of first team cricket. I guess just taking it in my stride ever since COVID. COVID was kind of a breakthrough because obviously we had lads that were injured, and I managed to play in the Bob Willis Trophy, which was obviously a shortened format, five games, and a small T20 format as well. So did well in that season and kind of took that in my stride and moved forward. So that kind of paid off, and luckily I'm playing a lot of cricket now and doing well.
Brilliant. And now you've obviously spent your professional career at Yorkshire. Talk to me about Yorkshire as a whole. How have you seen yourself develop as a person, as a player throughout your years there?
Yeah, like I said, I think everything moves so quickly because of the squad we had when I was kind of 17, 18, 19 and playing a lot of second team. It was very hard to break in. You had your likes of Bresnan, Plunkett, Jack Brooks, who were the main bowlers. And a couple of lads actually moved on. Your likes of Will Rhodes, who went to Warwickshire, Leesy went to Durham and things like that, because the squad was so strong that boys were not getting chances, I guess. And I think Andrew Gale, who was the head coach at the time, kind of saw something in me and worked with me really well and trusted me. I remember my debut in T20 was down at Worcester, and he picked me to go out there and play, and kind of I rewarded him with a good performance on debut, and kind of never looked back. So I think the way that I've moved, I became quite a senior player pretty quickly because obviously people moved on. We had a young group of players coming through, which looking at the state of the squad now is a good mixture of senior players and young players who've got a lot of experience playing cricket. So I guess it's my job to perform my role in both red ball and T20 and be a role model for those guys who are coming through.
Yeah, you said there about playing both red ball and white ball cricket. Do you approach them both differently mentally and physically?
Yeah, I think so. I love 4-day cricket, and obviously I go around in the winter and play in different franchises, and that's all part of the fun. But 4-day cricket is so rewarding. I think it's mentally tough. You go out there for 4 days, and well, sometimes only 3 if you get a good win or unfortunately lose. But I think you go out there and you really dig in as a team. I think obviously T20 is small moments that can win games, whereas 4-day cricket, it could be batting for 150, 200 balls to get a draw or to set up a win for your team, or it could be bowling an 8-9 over spell to take a few wickets to get your team into the game. And those moments, I think, are rewarding. I think winning a 4-day game is especially rewarding. I think we look at yesterday, we played Essex and we needed 6 wickets to win the game from the start of the day. And unfortunately, Critchley and Pepper batted for two sessions and pretty much saw them to a draw. So it's really tough on the back of us thinking we're going to win this game. It twisted and they managed to scrap out a draw, and that just shows how things can change throughout a day instead of T20 where it's 1 or 2 balls that potentially change a game.
Yeah, definitely. But now Yorkshire were promoted to Division 1 last year in the County Championship. Talk to me about your emotions and the team emotions during that time.
Yeah, I think it was relief more than anything. Obviously, the things that we've been through a couple of years before, we had a massive points deduction the first year in Division 2, which kind of stopped us from ever being able to get promoted. So we just wanted to build on that and play well. And we didn't actually have the greatest of starts last year. I think we went into that season feeling confident, but we just couldn't get the results, and we found ourselves kind of mid-table towards the middle of the season. But we knew that if we'd have got a couple of wins, which we did towards the back end, then it definitely would secure us promotion, and obviously finished second and didn't win the trophy. But I think more so than anything, it was just important to get up. I think get out of there, play Division 1 cricket and get back to a rebuild where we can go into Division 1, and now it starts all over again. Really, we're 5 games in. It's a very tight division, and the main thing for us this year is building a platform to stay in the league and hopefully in years to come potentially win the trophy.
Absolutely. Okay, then now moving on to your life beyond the game. Then, how do you like to spend your time outside of cricket and relaxing?
Yeah, it's an interesting one actually, because with the schedule that the ECB have set up with us for the 4-day cricket is tough. You look at today, we train tomorrow and then travel back down to Surrey on Thursday, so you don't really get much downtime. It's really relaxing for me sometimes just sitting and watching TV and just chilling out, but I'll try get a little game of golf in here and there, and I think the boys are quite keen on that. But that's more so during the T20 season when we can get 3 or 4 days in a row, we can go away and play a bit of golf and relax. But I think more so watching TV. If I'm a massive Leeds United fan, so if there's football, I'll go watch football, things like that, and just really take my mind off it and get away from cricket at times, because like I said, it can be intense, it can be tough and mentally draining at times. So yeah, just taking every opportunity to relax is massively important.
Yeah, and somehow I just knew you'd mentioned golf there. So my next question is, who are 3 professional cricket players that you think would be able to go pro at golf?
Wow. Well, Harry Brook, number 1. Easy. He plays off 1. I played with Zach Crawley quite a bit at London Spirit. Again, I think he's off 1 as well. So them 2 have definitely got potential. And who else have we got? So Adam Lythe actually is a very good golfer. Bit of an older man now, but he still strikes a decent ball. He don't hit it very far, but he's very, very consistent. And I think the confident man that he is, he probably back himself to play on the tour. He might have passed it now, but no, them 3 are definitely probably the best golfers I've played with. It's tough sometimes playing with those guys. Brilliant.
We'll have to tag them in this then. And what is your favourite golf course, do you think, around the world?
I've been in Abu Dhabi a lot in the recent times, and Yas Links just across from the race course. It's a course that a lot of us play very often, and it's immaculate. It's ridiculously. It's very neat. I know the greenkeeper there, and he looks after it so well, and his team, and it's mad how kind of neat and such a good setting. It's I can't really explain it. People have to go there, and then if you see pictures, people totally understand. It's set on the water, lovely little sand dunes and things like that, and it's a great place to play golf.
Beautiful. And now another question about your fellow teammates. On the team bus, who is someone that you're steering clear of and someone you're going to sit next to?
So I like to, I'm a bit of a Netflix person, or I'll be on my laptop most of the time. So I'll sit somewhere where nobody's disturbing me. Lads like to have a bit of chat, play a bit of cards and things like that, which I'll get involved with sometimes. But yeah, so Matt Revis is, he likes to sit on his phone and just chill, listen to music. But Dom Bess, you have to get away from Dom Bess. He will just randomly, he'll come up to you and he'll start messing around, and you just try to concentrate on something or whatever, but he'll not stop until that's his kind of entertainment. So you'll be sat there watching Netflix, he'll come and shut your laptop, or he'll just punch you or things like that, and it's so frustrating. But he's like that in the changing room as well. So yeah, there was a little bit of a war in the changing rooms between Matt Revis and Dom Bess yesterday. The food flying around from lunch and all sorts. So you just got to stay out of that, because otherwise your kit ends up getting trashed, and that's not something that I need.
No, exactly. And apart from Matt and Dom, then who do you think are some of the funniest guys in the Yorkshire changing room?
Oh, for a senior player, Adam Lythe, funny, but it's more people like laughing at him than laughing with him, because he comes out with some interesting stuff, and you're just like, what's even going through his brain? And then the younger lads as well, kind of James Wharton, George Hill, they just got kind of younger chat that people just laugh at. And yeah, to be fair, it's a good dressing room. There's some good personalities in there, and people have a good joke around. So yeah, those boys are probably the main ones.
Brilliant. Okay, now if you weren't a cricket player, what would you be doing, or what would you be?
The easier one would say a golfer, but I think everybody says that, so I'll stay away from that. Well, I've started a freelance journalism course. I'm like into sports journalism, stuff like that. I started a journalism course in COVID, which I got bored of because I was just playing Call of Duty and things like that. So it was more so but I kind of, now I'm 28, I got to the stage where I was like, well, I better start kind of knuckling down and making sure I've got some things to focus on. So I went on commentary the other day at the Essex Yorkshire game. Had a little bit of spare time whilst we were doing drinks for batters and things like that. So I went up there for half an hour and did a bit of commentary. So yeah, I think that's going down that kind of alleyway would be good, and enjoying staying in sport, and not necessarily. I think coaching would be an option, but I think it's more so it's a tough kind of thing to get into nowadays. I think a lot of people have got the same kind of mind frame, or play cricket, not just be a coach. So staying in sport in other ways is probably the way that I go, and kind of commentary, media, journalism, things like that are something that I'd look to build towards.
Yeah, I mean, my next question is, apart from being a commentator, what is one thing people wouldn't know about you?
Well, if we're talking personally, I don't know if many people know about my type 1 diabetes and obviously I deal with that on a day-to-day basis and playing cricket, but also kind of raising awareness for that. I'm doing a talk down in London on June 4th with a few other professional sportsmen with type 1 diabetes, and that's a bit of an event, so that should be good fun. I think there's a few kind of ex-footballers, ex-cricketers going down there to talk at that, and there's a professional boxer there as well, so I think that's quite a big thing. It's obviously close to my heart. It's something that I deal with day to day, and I have to look after to make sure that I can go out there and play cricket, really. So I think obviously I guess people can see that on my social media page and stuff, and how I raise awareness, but I think there's still some people that probably wouldn't know that and what I have to go through, really.
No, yeah, definitely. Now tell me more about dealing with type 1 diabetes in cricket then.
Yeah, so it's a massive kind of routine thing. I think so. Diabetes and a day-to-day life, if you're not in a routine, it's really tricky to kind of control. So 4-day cricket and T20 cricket, it can be tough because they're totally different. You go out there in T20, and if you're playing in front of a big crowd, the adrenaline has an effect on kind of glucose levels that shoots up, and it's hard to deal with that because it's only kind of a short period, like 1-2 hours in the field, and it has a totally different effect to the slow nature of 4-day cricket, where you're out there, you stood around for 2 hours, 3 hours before you go for lunch and things like that. So it's just managing things. You have to be really on top of it and put that first in every situation and make sure that everything's kind of aligned. And if you do that and look after it, then you live a normal life. I know some people find it a little bit harder than others, and I think when I was growing up, I was quite lucky because I was diagnosed at 16, and I'd like to say I was quite mature at that stage. I wasn't kind of messing around and like, oh, I don't want to look after myself, but I was quite right. I want to play cricket. I want to play sport. Let's make sure that this is looked after, and then I can perform to the best of my ability. Whereas I think a lot of other people who were kind of teenagers when they were diagnosed might have neglected it and not necessarily treated them, kind of looked after themselves in the right way.
Definitely. Well, what a brilliant thing you're raising awareness for, and all the best for the event going on.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So next then, I have heard some crazy superstitions in my time in cricket. Do you have any in particular, or know of anyone that has any crazy ones?
You know what? I'm not a massive superstition person. There's a few in the dressing room that are kind of basic. I think Lydie always puts his right pad on first and his right shoe on first and things like that. I feel like Dowie Milan's got a couple, but Dowie Milan's very particular about his kit. So like his kit's in his corner, he's set up. Nobody really touches it or goes near his bats and things like that. He comes in, he has 2 kit bags. So he'll have his kit bag for his like pads and helmet, gloves, all this, but he'll have a separate kit bag for his bats because he's got about 12 bats. So you go into a small dressing room, a small away dressing room, and Mal's got 2 kit bags sat in the corner there, and you're like, there's no space for anybody else apart from his bats and his kit bags. So yeah, but superstitions wise, there's not many. Jack White, he likes to bowl. He'll bowl 2 balls to mid off or mid on before every over. So like just like a shadow bowl. That's one thing really. I think that's more to get him loose before every over, but I guess it could be a little superstition. But yeah, I think there's little things that people go through, but there's not many weird ones in our dressing room.
I mean, I've heard some crazy ones. I think once, it might have been Akil Hussain who told me this, that he has to have like a wrapper, like a chocolate bar wrapper for the last like 10 years in his pocket.
Really?
Yeah.
Obviously I played with Akil. I never noticed that actually. So next time I see him, I'll have to...
Maybe it's not him. Maybe it's a story he's passed on, but who knows? Who knows?
No.
But anyway, let's move on to franchise cricket then. Start with the 100. So you played for the Northern Superchargers, London Spirit, and Trent Rockets. How was your experience differed at each team?
Well, and then Southern Brave this year. I think I'm the first person to reach 4 teams. I'm just making my way around and getting further away from Leeds. But yeah, no, obviously, so Superchargers the first year I came in, so 2021. Obviously, just making my way in the game, let's say in T20. So I was picked up as a replacement, injury replacement in that, and only played 2 or 3 games. So that was obviously our first kind of franchise tournament that I'd ever played in. Very good experience. Darren Lehman as coach, who was very good, and I think people didn't really know what to expect. It was new for everybody, and like I said, it was 3-4 weeks away from home, and I think people probably enjoyed themselves a little bit too much at times, which that's fine. But obviously the cricket was good fun as well. So yeah, played a couple of games in that and did okay. And off the back of that, found myself in the Big Bash, which is obviously another story. But then found myself at London Spirit, which was actually really good. It was a bit more of a home. I enjoyed going down there. First year did really well, and obviously got retained for the second year and went back and didn't really play as much, which I was quite disappointed about because I did well. I think I was joint leading wicket taker in the competition in the 2022 season. So enjoyed playing at Lords, and obviously being down there in London was a nice change. Just to get away for 3 or 4 weeks from Leeds was good and experience a bit of a different lifestyle. But yeah, it was a good setup down there. Everybody got looked after very well, and we found ourselves, I think, in the eliminator in the first year. Unfortunately, couldn't get over the line. But yeah, so then obviously 2 years at London Spirit, and then found myself at Trent Rockets, which, to be fair, was probably the best organisation. Andy Flower as head coach was very kind of regimented, and he wanted it. 4 weeks of hard work, really, and making sure that everybody's ready to play every single game. And we had a good group of lads. We played golf pretty much every other day, which obviously a cricketer's dream when you're playing franchise stuff is golf. Golf clubs are the first thing that go in obviously in your luggage. So we enjoyed that. Being in Nottingham was obviously a decent area to be. It was not far from Leeds, so I managed to come home a couple of times. And yeah, I think that was probably the best organisation, and we had a decent team and probably underperformed, which was obviously frustrating. But it's the way it is. Obviously, the 100, everybody's seen what it's like. It's probably purposely built to create close games, and that's exactly what it does. When you feel like you're going to win a game, it quickly turns on its head, and you're back out of the game again. So it's important to take control and impact every single ball that you can.
Definitely, and it's a pretty special thing being able to call Lords your home ground for a few weeks. What is it like as a player walking out of the pavilion onto the pitch?
Yeah, it was. I loved it down there. The atmosphere was class. We were getting kind of 25,000, 30,000. We had some really good games there against Oval, obviously the local derby, and then like I said, that first year we found ourselves playing really, really well. And I think on paper you looked at the team and probably didn't look at it and go, "Oh, these are contenders." But I think we gelled really well very quickly as a team, and we performed. And lads put in performances in different games that got us over the line. And yeah, like you say, to walk out at Lords and play there with that crowd and play in front of that pavilion is immense. So that was a really, really fun 4 weeks in the 100.
Yeah, of course. So before I move on then from Lords, I know the answer to this because I've obviously worked with London Spirit, but why do people rave about the Lords lunches so much? What makes them so special?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, you walk into a little lunchroom, little old-fashioned lunchroom, look up on the board, there's 3 or 4 options there that are all immense, like perfectly cooked. You could choose every single one of them and enjoy every one of them. And then you can walk in after it. Well, to be fair, after a 4-dayer is more comparable, because if you walk in at lunchtime in a 4-dayer and you've been working hard for 2 hours bowling, and you walk in, there's a nice can of Coke in the fridge, you take that out, have a drink of that, and then maybe some ice cream or things like that. But yeah, you're spoilt rotten when you play there. Like you say, you walk in, it's like going to a 5-star Michelin restaurant or things like that, and it's totally different to anywhere else on the circuit, and you've got to enjoy it, definitely. And unfortunately this year Middlesex are in Division 2, so we can't experience it this year, but that's fine.
Nightmare. Well, I'm glad we've covered the important stuff. Okay, so then moving on to the 2025 season of the 100, how are you looking forward to a new team, new colour, Southern Brave, as you mentioned a few minutes ago?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's coming to the draft, I knew I wasn't retained by Trent, and being at those 3 teams, it was tricky because obviously I've played for those 3, I've done well, but I've not played as many games I would have liked in the 100 the last few years, and I was kind of looking and thinking, well, am I going to get picked up? If I don't get picked up, there's potential I could get picked up as a wild card or as a replacement, and that's fine. So yeah, I got a bit of a sniff from my agent, and he spoke to a few people and said, look, there's a couple of teams who are involved, a couple of teams who are interested. And yeah, Southern Brave picked me up down there. So I spoke to Eddie Birrell, actually the head coach. We played Hampshire first game of the season, so I saw a couple of boys down there, and they're really excited to have me. I think they've not had many all-rounders recently in their squad, so they'd like somebody who can kind of bowl at the death and as a left-hander smack a few. So I think looking at the squad, it's very strong. The bowling attack especially. And you look at, we've got Archer, Topley, Mills, Craigo, Danny Briggs as well. So Michael Bracewell is overseas, left-handed batter and off-spinner. So you look at the squad that we've got, and it's very strong. So you obviously looking to go there and make an impact, but also looking to go there and win the trophy again for Southern Brave. So it's exciting down at Hampshire as well. It's a place I quite enjoy playing at, and I think the atmosphere down there for the T20s and the 100 is very good. So yeah, it's a new experience, and 4 weeks down there should be good fun.
Excellent. And now moving over to the other side of the planet then, in Australia, you played for the Hobart Hurricanes in the 2021-22 season of the Big Bash. What is it like playing in that tournament?
Yeah, it was an interesting time actually, because that was my first overseas franchise tournament, and me and Harry Brook played together in that. And obviously, so Brookie's one of my close mates in cricket, so it was good to go down there with him. But it was interesting because Australia was still very strict with COVID at the time, so we were very much kept under wraps, if I can say it like that. But Western Australia was closed off, so Perth were playing all their games over on the East Coast. So we played Perth twice in Hobart, and then it got affected by COVID kind of with 2 weeks left of the tournament, so everybody had to move to Melbourne. So the actual experience of being there and travelling around and flying to different places was kind of interrupted. And I did okay. I bowled well. Didn't bat as well as I would have liked, but I kind of said it was the first franchise tournament that I've been involved in as an overseas. So it was kind of, there was obviously a lot more pressure, and you put more pressure on yourself. But I think you've got to realise, like, you're not there to win every single game for that team. It's obviously the local lads who play for that team are also there to have an impact as well. So if you can go over there and win a couple of games off the back of a couple of impact performances, then that's the best you can do, and just being a good person, really. So it was a very good experience down to Australia for, well, it was the second time I've been there. I played a bit of grade cricket down in Sydney, but now Australia as a place was very good, and I'd definitely like to go back someday.
Brilliant. And how was your experience over in Pakistan? I mean, cricket is huge over there.
Yeah, so that was interesting. So I flew straight from Australia to the PSL, and I found myself in my hotel room for 10 days straight as I got COVID the first day I was there, which was not ideal. There was a lot of, I sometimes travel around with my Xbox, and it's a good job I did that competition, because I was sat on that for about 10 days straight, and shacked up in between four walls, and managed to get out and play. I only played 2 games there, but you could just see the local talent and the kind of the crowds and how much they love cricket. It was mad, really. The sound that you kind of engulfed the stadium as you walked out was crazy. A lot of whistling, just singing, shouting, things like that. And it's different to anywhere you would play. It was more like a kind of football crowd in England than a cricket crowd. And like you say, the standard there is very tough, and obviously the conditions are a lot different as well. So to play a couple of games there, and we didn't do very well as a team at Karachi, but the actual experience itself and the players that were within my team was good. And again, if I got the opportunity to go back in the future, then I definitely would.
Of course. And then moving over to the UAE, then you played in the Abu Dhabi T10 and the IL T20. How do you find playing over in the UAE differs to anywhere else in the world?
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like there's a bit for everybody in the UAE. Like, you go to Pakistan and these pitches look kind of like concrete, and it's not really bouncing above kind of knee height and things like that. And then you go to Australia and it's bouncing around everywhere. And you'll know as well, you've obviously been there for the last couple of years, but the UAE with the new balls and at night, and it's swinging around, a little bit of grass on the pitches, the bowlers are kind of licking the lips and going, we can take some wickets here. But then as soon as that shine goes, the pitch is definitely flatten out, and it's lovely to bat on. So I think it differs everywhere. Yeah, you've just got to be on your game and making sure that you can adapt to those conditions every time, kind of everywhere you go. I certainly enjoyed bowling the UAE with kind of the newer ball. I felt like you were always in the game to take wickets, but then also with the bat, it was always kind of a true surface, especially to play in Abu Dhabi. It feels like the ball flies there. So as somebody who likes to go out there and try and smack it, if you can get a few away, then it definitely goes. So no, it's a great experience playing there. I didn't actually play a game this year, which was disappointing, but to train with the boys that we've got around that squad, you like to, obviously Pollard, Puran, Akil Hussain, things like that, you learn a lot every single year. So it's always great fun there. And it was kind of, for me, it was like a pre-season, because I had 5 weeks training and obviously worked hard on my game and came away feeling good. Brilliant.
And then with your team, the MI Emirates, you actually won the IL last season. What was that like as a team?
Yeah, so it was interesting. It's my first T20 kind of trophy. I played a handful of games in that group stage and did pretty well, actually. It was a good experience. We were very, very strong, and it showed in that final. I think we racked up maybe 220, 230, and the lads who you would expect to perform kind of pulled off some serious contributions in those games leading up to the final. So, like I said, the talent that we had within that team and the bowling attack was immense as well, especially in those conditions when you got Trent Boult running and swinging it, and people just couldn't seem to get him away. And then obviously Akil Hussain, number 1 T20 bowler in the world, bowling in the power play, and lads really struggled. So, like I said, I've been around those guys for 3 years now and learned a lot. And when you're on the field with kind of Dwayne Bravo and Pollard in your ear as a bowler, obviously trying to help you and giving you plans and things like that, you're going to listen to them. So to be a part of that winning squad, it was really good, and it was a good party afterwards as well.
I can imagine. Okay, so to finish up the franchise segment then, talk to me about the Hong Kong Sixes. Now, for those of you who might not know, the Hong Kong Sixes is a 6-a-side, 6-over tournament. So how did you find that, like, the different element of cricket there?
impossible as a bowler, I would say. It's bizarre. Yeah, we turned up to the first. I think we played the first game of the comp, and it was like being thrown into. You run up to ball and you're thinking, how if I get hit for 4, it's a result, because the boundaries are 20 yards, 25 yards. The pitch is obviously it's just absolutely tiny. It's a brand new white ball, and every time the ball got hit for 6, they would use a brand new white ball every time it came back out. So you literally, you got no chance. It was just trying to work out ways of getting a dot or getting hit for 4 instead of kind of being hit for 6. I think I got hit for three or four sixes in a row in multiple games, and lads are looking around going, "What am I supposed to do?" But yeah, it was good. It was good fun. It was interesting. We obviously played with a handful of county lads. But we played against teams. Australia brought they had Dan Christie and James Pattinson, Fawad Ahmed, so obviously ex-internationals. And the surprise packages were the teams like Nepal, Oman, who had probably their best players from the country who were kind of up against us, but they were really talented. And Hong Kong as well. They were a good team, but the experience itself was good fun. I got the message quite late. It was about a month before, and I said, why not? It'd be a good experience, see a new place and play some cricket and have a bit of fun. So yeah, it was a great competition to be a part of, and hopefully in the future do it again.
Yeah, I mean, at the time when the competition was going on, so I was in Sri Lanka at the Sri Lanka T10, and the sort of catchphrase was, "This is the shortest format in cricket," but everyone was like, "No, it's not." And they've got the Hong Kong Sixes. Obviously, you've played T10 cricket. Is it even? I can't even imagine how much shorter 6 overs is to 10 overs, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's mad. It goes so fast. It's actually quite fun. If you're running into ball and you know you've only got 6 balls. Well, to be fair, actually, there's five bowlers, 4 bowlers, and then one person bowls 2 overs. So realistically, you don't want to be that person who has to bowl 2 overs, because otherwise you just get absolutely smacked.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like the games were like, I think the first game we started was like 8:30 a.m. and I think the next game started at 9:40. So like an hour and 10 for a game. Obviously, that's including changeovers. So you're not out there in the field for no longer than 25, 30 minutes. And they were really tight on schedules because it was on YouTube and things like that. But there must have been 10 games a day, I think it was. Because there was, how many teams was there? 9 teams or 10 teams? Something like that. So everybody played every day. And some teams had 2 games. But yeah, like you say, you walk out and within half an hour, you sat back in the dugout again. So, no, it's definitely getting shorter around the world. There'll be a 3 or 4 over game soon, I'm sure. Something like that.
I mean, that is just crazy. Okay, so to finish off then, we're going to play 2 quick games. So the first game is this or that. The second one is blind ranking.
Yeah.
So with this or that, I'm going to tell you 10 all-rounders, and you've got to, have you played this before? This or that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the first one is Craig White or Freddie Flintoff?
Craig White, Yorkshireman.
Okay. Craig White or Hardik Pandya?
Craig White.
Craig White or Ian Botham?
Craig White.
Craig White or Imran Khan?
Craig White.
Craig White or Sean Pollock?
Craig White.
Craig White or Ravi Jadeja?
Jadeja.
Oh, sorry, Craig. Okay, Ravi Jadeja or DJ Bravo?
Bravo. Easy.
Okay, Bravo or Ben Stokes?
Bravo.
Oh, okay. Finally then, Bravo or Jack Callis?
Oh, Jack Callis. Easy.
Wonderful.
Easy.
Well, we've got Jack as a winner. Okay, then. Secondly, blind ranking. These are all Yorkshire legends, but to ease the pressure, then none of them are current players, so there's no pressure there. So I'm going to do you know how this game works? I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, so how many is there?
1 to 5. 1 to 5.
Oh, 5, cool. Yeah, sweet.
Okay, so first one is Darren Lehman.
2.
Oof. Second is Jeff Boycott.
4.
Ray Illingworth.
3.
Brian Close.
Oh. I think there's somebody coming here, so 5.
Oh, okay, and Darren Goff.
Yeah, 1. Yeah.
One.
You'll like that as well.
Okay, and finally then, you can have a think about this if you need it, but I always get the player to ask the next guest a question. So it can be any question you like. And if you want to know the player, I can tell you, but it sometimes works better if you don't know who it is. It can be any question. Any question.
Can I have it? I don't want to know the player, but can you tell me what county they're from?
Okay. I can tell you something else. So you know him very well.
Right. So
a lot of people.
All right. Okay. So if we were, it depends. This could be a risky question because it's just whether they play golf or not. So if I was to play golf against you, off scratch, both of us, with £100 on the line, who's taking the money?
Wonderful. Okay, I'm going to show him that next podcast, and we'll find out the answer. Well, lovely. Jordan, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure, and all the best for the season ahead.
No, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.